Lisa has single-handedly ruined 2 weeks of my life. And it's one of the best games I've ever played. I want to start this video off with an apology. Originally, my best friend, Nick Bolas, pestered me to play this game for a year straight. I'm being generous with that time frame. It's probably a lot longer. And every single time this man told me to play it, I said, I'll look into it. And then I proceeded to never look into it. Eventually, I caved. Fine. You win. I will play this game. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Undertale, Disco Elysium, Balatro, Rocket League. Did you know that Rocket League was an indie game? All of these games have been identified as iconic. One of them was given to the Pope, but Lisa isn't in that discussion. The only time I've seen someone praising this game is by IGN. Yeah, IGN. The same company that gave Battlefield an 8 out of 10. Unrelated, but I thought that Rocket League was made by EA. I'm not the only one, right? So let's dive into this game. But before I do, I feel obligated to give a warning. This game has some very serious and dark subject matter. And while I'll argue that it handles it with care and does it well, at least for 2014, I feel it is the right thing to do to point it out. Good. Good. Brad was always someone to stand up for what is right. Even if he didn't have the best support at home, whatever he had the power to stand up, he did. 30 years later, that philosophy hasn't changed. When the world collapsed, leaving no one but men around, Brad Armstrong came across a baby. Our baby. Oh shit. But not just any baby. A girl. Brad's baby, aptly named Buddy, because what other name would you call her? You got any other ideas? Is quickly seen as humanity's last hope. Is Brad capable of handling this on his own? I don't care. I'm keeping her. Well, that handles it. And Brad wasn't taking the situation lightly. He made sure Buddy was taken care of, reminding what his father was to him. He can do better. At least he thought. Brad had to change. Brad committed to change, help Buddy be safe in a world that would hurt her. She became the light that Brad needed. But old habits die hard. Once Brad wakes up from his bender, he fights a dog, like every other normal person. Ah, Christ. And we meet Terry Hintz, a guy who provides suggestions on what to do next. In fact, he is so passionate about helping, he leaves notes up for everyone to see, such as talk to ravens to save for some reason. Unrelated, but in an interview in 2014, Austin mentioned that he tried to make Terry annoying as possible with the intent for people to be annoyed by him. It didn't work. And as a result, people identify Terry as their favorite party member. Anyway, we get back to the house, and it's our deepest fears come to life. Buddy is gone. Everyone knows about her. Horrific for us, and a little bit awkward for Terry, who joined us out of moral obligation. So, our objective is clear. Find Buddy, wherever she may be. You explore the world through side-scrolling. Austin prevents us from being boring and dull by having ledges and ropes to help you go up and down. Fuck, ow! Enemies are invisible in the overworld, making it possible to avoid fights. Fine. Combat is turn-based, and each party member has their own unique style of combat. Brad, for example, uses combos. If you do the combos by heart, you can do more damage. At least that's what I told myself. Terry provides hints that give us buffs and debuffs to our foes and allies. But if you ask him to do damage, he'll throw himself on the floor like a dumbass. There's never really a safe area in this game, which requires you to be on your toes at all times. Unfortunately, we're not the biggest fish in the pond. And we'll be constantly reminded about that throughout the game. Looks like our paths have crossed again. Dude, I just started playing. Our options are simple. Give our new bully all our stuff, or Terry's life. I gave him all my shit. Enjoy my dried up jerky, asshole. You're a bad omen. You're welcome, Terry. This might be a good time to talk about the music. The music is made by Awesome himself with no prior knowledge of music theory, using only the stock sounds from both RPG Maker and Fruity Loops Studio. The genre of music can be described as a rhythmic fever dream, which is fair given his prior knowledge as well as the theme of the game. Wait, so in a Reddit post a few years ago, he actually mentioned that he only had the trial version of Fruity Loops Studio. Do you know what that means? He couldn't save. Did I mention this game's open world? Well, kind of. In points of the game, there will be a crossroad, encouraging you to explore all options of it. For example, there's a bridge that would help us get closer to Buddy, but it's cut off, so we need to go another way around. There's a smaller cliff, but we're too fat, so we have to get a bike. And each area has something new in store. This makes the game more interesting, from meeting a new friend or learning a new ability to meeting someone you wish you never met. Well, hopefully never meet you again. This is Joy, a drug that Brad has been addicted to his entire life. If you take it, you take less damage and have a 100% crit rate. But you'll eventually experience withdrawals, resulting in no damage. You'll get withdrawals regardless because of Brad's past, but you can sleep them off. The people you meet in Lisa are the reason to keep playing. Some people you'll meet at bars will join you for a fee, while others you meet in the wild. One of my favorite characters is Nern. Self-acclaimed the greatest historian of our time, at least arguably. He's humble about it. He will join your party if you listen to him talk about the flash that started everything. Sitting next to his wife, God rest her soul, while sipping on some sweet lemon tea, but it wasn't any normal lemon tea. It was homemade, sweet lemon tea made by his sweet wife, God rest her soul. No, wait. It was store-bought, like it was in a plastic bottle. But wait. That would be ridiculous to buy a bottle of sweet lemon tea, then transfer the contents into a glass. Why not just drink it from the bottle? Ice cubes. There'd be no space for them, which is why you need a glass. Making homemade would be equally as time-consuming, if not more. That sneaky bitch. Anyway, I was sitting on the porch with my sweet lemon tea in a glass, of course, when suddenly a great strangeness filled my body. Something was wrong. My rocking chair wasn't rocking. I lived for many years and never felt something off like this. There was a rock blocking my chair. How bizarre was that? I decided it was time for bed. I had a little bit too much excitement for one day. I slid into my jammies, brushed my teeth, and said my prayers. And as my wife tended to say, I asked myself, why can't I be married to an attractive woman? Is it me? My bank account? I'm a tall guy that works out 40 minutes a week. That's enough, right? My neighbor, Tom Fortnite, was very short. He was married to one of those women. Way more attractive than my wife. Easily a soft 6, but my wife was a hard 4. I thought women liked tall men. Anyway, my horse of a wife, God rest her soul, crawled into bed so she could read one of her books. It was one of her romance novels again. As if I didn't feel adequate enough. Not only do I have to compare myself to Tom, but now her books with fictional hunks. At this point, I have suppressed the urge of intimacy and rolled over and tried to sleep. During the flash? And then I woke up to a bright flash of light. This man is fantastic. It was instantly an auto-include to my party. Every character is fleshed out and unique. They have their own perspectives and ways of combat, at least not carbon copies of one another. Some party members will even speak with you when you rest. You feel very weird things around you. I started to notice a light reflection of the shiny head in the same way. Shut up, nerd! Additionally, there may be random events that happen when you wake up from resting. For example, Terry was taken to us in her sleep. In order to get him back, I need to pay a ransom. Unfortunately for Terry, I cannot read, and I didn't do it, losing Terry forever. His final words to me were, "You suck, I rule." But all this is one big distraction from the main story. Buddy is the last girl on Earth. Where is she? And more importantly, who is she with? But maybe that's even a bigger distraction from ourself. Brad clearly isn't living his best life, and neither were his peers. Rick's literally holding his life together with duct tape and a dream. Living with a wife that hates him, as well as having a kid that clearly isn't his. But to Rick, Brad is living the high life, which is not true. Brad is just really good at hiding it. One of his oldest friends, Sticky, would sell him painkillers, and then he would take them before starting his classes. But we're getting distracted again. The news of Buddy spread like wildfire. Thoughts of rebuilding humanity and taking back what we have lost. And others see an opportunity for exploitation. The first place we checked out is a rundown warehouse that allows anyone to have some fun for a price. When you investigate, they attack you because you're bald. A reasonable reaction. But it turns out that's not Bunny. That's just a random guy who owns a truck at the bridge. So hey, convenient. Not a waste of time at all. There's going to be a lot of that. Finding characters and key items unintentionally is just the vibe of the game. Look, some dude just joined my party because I stepped on a spider. You saved my life. I owe you everything. But you do need friends, or at least someone to take the fall for you. Side note, thanks for doing this. You did owe me one. But this is also asked upon you. On the way to the warehouse, Buzzo stops you and holds Nern hostage. I could either lose my arm or let Nern see his wife. God rest her soul. I let Buzzo cut off my arm, losing 50% of my damage. Just a time. That reminds me of a great story. Wait, you're not gonna fucking tell me it? The game has these very dark and serious moments, but breaks the tension through dark humor and general nonsense. Introduce Rick to your face after he calls you a monster. Get forklift certified. Witness a man lose his life. Keep his music on. It's what he would have wanted. All those jokes aren't the best now and are mostly just a product of 2010's humor. If you're able to see them for what they are, you'll see that their jokes still land today. There is always a bigger fish, and Rando is the great white shark. Fortunately, he's a merciful shark and will give you 8 rations before going on his way. Thanks. After defeating an evil clown and going through a brain tunnel with spiders that look like your dad, just go with it. We find Buddy, alone in a cave. Sticky was the only one with her and told her to stay here. I know what's going on. She knows how important she is to the world. Her role as the one resource that could bring the world back from extinction is vital. They all cared about me, something you never did, despite his intentions of being good, to keep her safe in a world where she's needed and doesn't fully understand what she's being asked to do. The person he can't save her from is himself. Uncle Sticky showed me. My blood started to boil. Buddy, whether she's willing to admit it or not, is being taken advantage of. And believe me, when I see Sticky, he's not going to see it coming. Brad, she's getting older. How can you blame me? Besides, she wanted it. She's thirsty for knowledge. Can I talk about Austin real quick?
All I wanted to do was do a River City Ransom style beat 'em up in a post-apocalyptic world with like Fist of the North Star type dudes.
But as the game developed, a question began to brew. Why are there only men?
Then I started researching things like prisons or just certain work areas in the world. You have like oil rigs and stuff where it's only men. It really switched from just being about it'll be about a bunch of cool dudes beating each other up to like what's like kind of the honesty of the situation. So
Austin is passionate about RPGs and the stories that they can tell.
Seeing a lot of like the things being produced, and I can't speak for a lot of indie games because I think a lot of them are great, and even some of the big title games. You got like The Last of Us and some of these things, but they're just kind of like a feeling of we can do better than this. I don't know, and I mean I'm not some sort of great artist or whatever, but I just really feel like it's like we could be pushing the genre just a little bit and just producing a fresh product, and I don't know. I mean, I see a lot of games, it's all something in space or something with wizards and warriors, and it's like, I don't know. Even the post-apocalyptic thing's been done 100 times over, but I mean, I just kind of want to produce something a little bit different to give maybe a different feeling or experience when you're playing a game.
Lisa's pitched from November 14th to December 14th, and within those 30 days, it received $16,492, just shy of its goal of $7,000. So close. The game was well described, showing a small alpha demo that has been lost to time, but the footage still exists on the page, promising pledgers to be either villagers or bosses depending on how much they pledged. And honestly, based off this Kickstarter, it does not surprise me that it did well. Austin was unapologetically himself and explained passionately about what he was going to do. Anyway, Bunny is somewhere across the lake, so naturally we steal a map from a fish people and get out of trouble thanks to Harvey, the fish lawyer. Thanks, man. I owe you one. kill Sticky and Rick, lose 3 partner members that I didn't give a shit about. I mean, oh no! 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 Puzzle, please don't kill the guy who looks like he runs Reddit for him. No! Cut down the last tree on ancient Indian soil. I'm sure that's not problematic. Get a big ass fan in a sauna. We set sail to the island alone. Except for Farty. Farty's here to pilot the ship, and then we kill him. The island inhabits 2 people. Buddy and Marty. He's still alive. A man who has been abusive and hurtful in our lives is now here, overseeing someone that we must protect. Why are you here? Brad has lost control, killing Marty and further damaging an already fragile relationship. His last words to Brad: Bradley, I've changed. Lisa baby, I'm sorry. Buddy has left once more. Rando's legion is blocking the way. She belongs to Rando now. This thought is a collective. The girl is not yours, Brad. Brad is alone, and there's the one thing he can do. Crash. I believe the best antagonists are the ones that you understand why they're doing something, but ultimately disagree with their approach. Rando, to me, is an excellent example of what a good antagonist should be. He understands that the human race will not continue like this, and Buddy plays a very important role in the success of the human race. But she's just a kid. There is nothing left. Brad spoke to Buddy about the truth. For good or for evil, it doesn't matter. Those men were going to use you. Choose your life for you. Much like his father, Brad is attempting to redeem himself, despite not being there and being a shit parent. Not once, but twice. And now he's choosing to try again. And once again, he stood for what is right. Did I do the right thing? Brad has succumbed to joy. A large, grotesque version of himself, now a slave to Buzzo, in exchange for our freedom. I don't want to hurt you. I never did. But make no mistake, if you slip up at all, this world will tear you apart. Welcome to hell, sunshine. Buddy is alone. Well, not quite. Rando somehow survived the battle and is now joining us. He tries to get us to shelter, but we were then kidnapped. But they quickly learn that Buddy isn't useless. Thanks to Brad, she learned how to use a blade, because he was taught by Brad. Yeah, so Rando just casually drops that. Not foreshadowing at all. Anyway, Oath is run by 9 warlords. But thanks to Brad killing 3 of them, there are now 6. Naturally seeing this, Buddy decides that her name should be on top of the list. Not everyone deserves to die, and a lot of them have done a lot of good, like Lardy and Mr. Beautiful. Despite being called a warlord, Mr. Beautiful is a pacifist, which ultimately causes a strain in Buddy and Rando's relationship. He's our brother, by the way. His name's Dustin. Just nonchalantly tell me that you're my brother. Okay. Rando attempts to say that you should listen to him more because he's your older brother. Buddy tells him to fuck off. And, well, he does. Huh. You can tackle the warlords any way you like, although it would be smarter to do them from the bottom up as they increase in difficulty. But nothing's really stopping you, and if you wanted to, you can do the harder ones to get stronger buffs. Each time you kill a warlord, you get a new ability. Fantastic. But as we slay the warlords one by one, we see Dustin suspended in the air. After getting him down, he mentions that his friends were the ones that kidnapped us, and he did this to protect Buddy. Dustin still understood Buddy's importance, but failed to provide Buddy her autonomy. Dustin dies, leaving us with the last warlord. Okay, so if you thought that the painful soundtrack was good, you didn't listen to Joyfuls yet. This man paid for 4 of them studios and the goddamn shows! It's absolutely fantastic. But this is really good. I cannot stress this enough. And this music really shows when you fight Big Lincoln. This guy doesn't fuck around. Big Lincoln demands for you to be good at the game. His aura of a tier 1 warlord and his soundtrack fucking hits. This is a 3-phase fight that you have to fight alone. I was on the edge of my seat throughout the entire fight. I beat it first try though. The list is now completed. Buddy has won, except for one foe remains. Dr. Yado, the man behind it all. This gets very confusing. According to Yado, he created joy and has used it to control this world. And during the creation, he had a child. You. Buddy. The plan was to have Buddy be thrown into this world and for people to fight for her, only for them to die along with Buddy. It failed. Yado didn't work alone and got the assistance from Buzzo, helped people get addicted to joy. Despite his absence, Yado still cared for Buddy, which is why he didn't fight back. The fight slowly impacts Buddy's mind. Buddy wakes up in a room filled with blood, and seeing how Brad's life has been impacted by Buddy. I always called you that when you were a baby. I was just stuck, Brad and Buddy. I was completely lost before I found you. You showed me what love really is. That's why, when I look you in the eyes, it's the scariest feeling in the world. I tried. No matter what, I really did love you with all my heart. Yado gives us the vaccine, preventing us from becoming mutants. Before he can really say anything else, Buzzo kills him. What happened to you wasn't his fault. It's hers. Buzzo is talking about Lisa. Lisa was Brad's sister, and is seen prominently throughout the game in the background. The elephant in the room. She fell in love with Bernard, now named Buzzo. When abuse she received from Marty persisted, she took it upon herself to end it. Ultimately, Buzzo blames Brad for not doing anything. But Brad did everything he could. Brad was the only one that loved Buddy, and did everything in his power to do what is right. He loved Buddy because he gave him a second chance to protect someone he couldn't protect before. And the difference between Brad and Buzzo is that Brad attempted to break the chain of abuse and change himself, while Buzzo blamed others and declined his own responsibility. Buddy is hallucinating and sees Dustin and Brad both begging for her to join them, to not take the vaccine. She needs to let go. I want to share something that Austin discussed in an interview 11 years ago. I
had a girlfriend. She had a bad relationship with her father. And no matter what, it always came up in our relationship. Just somehow it would seep in. Like the sludge of that terrible guy would seep into our relationship. And it just got me thinking, like, man, no matter what I do, no matter what happens, this is something that's going to stick with her.
Things will happen to you, and you have to move on. We saw that through Brad. He changed his life to protect Buddy from the same abuse that he endured. Was he successful? Not as much as we would like to, but it was a lot better than what he experienced. And importantly, Brad left a positive impression on Buddy at the end of the game. Austin's core philosophy and beliefs while creating Lisa are still true today. He now operates Serenity Forge, a publishing company that helps independent developers publish the games with strong narratives. It's not driven by a single genre, but by the value of their lasting emotional impact on players. Games such as To the Moon, another RPG Maker game, and their upcoming game, Roman Sands Rebuild, a game that I will be personally looking forward to playing myself. Austin has achieved the impossible. Alone, with no prior experience, has he made a game that is life-changing. All from just a $30 RPG Maker and a trial of Fruity Loop Studio. And if I'm ever asked what game masterfully handles this dark subject matter, I will name Lisa.